Down to crunch time before our big event that's coming up. So there has been a little bit of communication glitches along the way, but I'll be honest, that is normal every time we plan a large class-wide service learning project. So it's come to the point where the students are realizing that and seeing that the connections and the communication needs to happen between each group, and you need to find different ways in order to make that happen. So it's part of the learning process that comes with this project each term. This is the first year, of course, for Sustainapalooza, but I have done many of these over the last 5 years. Kind of the same thing that happens each semester. So while you guys might be stressed or shocked, I'm really not. It's also the same sort of thing that happens when you're working in business and industry and you have cross-divisional areas working together. They tend to lack a lot of communication. So if you work in retail or any business environment, you've probably worked with marketing or the distribution channels or some other, like human resources. You've probably worked with another department at some point or another. If not, you will in the future, and you'll find that because everyone's kind of in their own silos, they often forget to intermingle, cross-communicate, and there tends to be lots of struggles. So we'll get through those things like 15 days before the event. So while it's crunch time, we'll get it together. A few updates. As for the flyers, those were printed on Friday. Because you guys aren't on campus and we need to get those up right away. The ones that are printed, Casey Meehan, who's the sustainability coordinator we've been talking about all term, he actually took and dropped those off at the student life office, and they'll just hang those up around campus for us. Trisha, the student designer from the graphics program who created the flyer, is actually going to email me a virtual copy that our team that's in charge of networking and marketing can then send out to put on the boards around campus. It can go to all student email. We can contact Eric Jacobson so that we can do some Facebook related marketing. Casey's gonna work on our press release, so he'll take care of that. We won't have to worry about the press release, but we do need to worry about communicating the other information and sending that out to the various different student clubs and organizations and invite them to come check out the event, and also the student body in general. With all of that being said, it all needs to happen pretty fast, but we're also waiting for a sign or the marketing materials. It kind of happens this way every term. So we'll get that sent out as soon as possible, but just know that you're going to have to jump on those as soon as we get that flyer printed out. The planning and day of event committee, they are going through right now, and they have sent emails out to several of you. They need to know what groups you've been in contact with, who the contact person is, who the volunteer is that is in charge of that booth, what's going on. So make sure you guys are responding to Jessica and Danielle related to the day of event, because we need to reserving the tables and setting up and laying out how the courtyard is going to be planned out for the day of the event, so we have all that material available. So make sure you're responding to those emails right away. You can also post in the Slack channel, which I pulled up here. I did reach out to a few groups on behalf of you guys because you weren't hearing back or they weren't responding to you, which can sometimes happen with student emails. So I did step out a little bit and reach out to some of those, or I had instructors or group leaders reach out to me just because they heard about it through Casey, type of thing. So currently what we have on the docket, early childhood education student is going to be doing sidewalk chalk and a bug dig for little kids games and activities the day of the event. Western sustainability team, either Casey or Genevieve or Amy or one of their 2 student interns will be available the day of the event. And they'll have a little booth related to Western sustainability and what kind of goes on in general at campus. Could reach out to Genevieve and Casey and see if those 2 interns could be volunteers for us for that day if we need additional help. We would just need to know ahead of time what we need them to do and what type of tasks that day. Tree USA committee, they are going to be planting a tree. So they are going to plant a tree at 2 o'clock in the Learning Commons or the library area. They'll do that with the daycare kids that are going to come over from the YWCA daycare, which is behind our business education center. The landscape and horticulture students, they are doing a plant autonomy growth quiz, win a free tree at their booth. They'll also hand out the seeds for us. They'll have volunteers. We have Hillview Urban Agriculture Center that is going to be there. The YWCA is going to be doing a booth. This one's not correct here, but theirs is going to be on equality related issues on sustainability, so that's pretty neat. Computer support specialist, we're still working through the fine details on that, but their program is actually in charge of a massive service learning project where they collect e-waste for an entire week and save many thousands of pounds of e-waste. And they also run a student-run help desk, which helps all of our students and community members on campus for 8 weeks during the semester. So that helps to reduce waste because people usually just throw out their computers rather than get them fixed, and it's free through the computer support specialist, or they also help with technology-related issues. Community engagement is going to hand out free fruit the day of the event. Habitat for Humanity is going to be there using some of their restore items and showing how you reuse those. We'll have a recycling booth with mascara, sneakers, and markers. We need to work on how that's going to be advertised, so I'm going to meet with several of that team tomorrow so that we can see how we can pull that off and what the specifics are for those. And then we have 6 sustainability boards that were created by the various graphic design students that we will have some of my face-to-face business management students doing an educational piece on. So that's kind of an overview of where we're sitting right now for the event. I have a student, her name's Katie Schultz. She's going to be putting together the seed packets for us. We have everything done except for the labels. We're waiting to see if we can get those done in-house. As a backup plan, I ordered address labels from Vista Print that we can just throw on those, but those do not arrive until April 1st. So it's going to cut it really close for getting those out to the regionals, but we'll make it happen. Genevieve responded this morning to, I don't remember which student, Christina, I believe, letting her know that Genevieve would take care of distributing those to the regionals. So we'll have that available as well. So that's where we're at for the event right now. You guys, if you have additional updates, part of your assignments this week is to communicate on the Slack channel as to where you are, what additional updates you have on top of that, so that everyone in the class knows what each student is working on, where we're going, where we need help, if we need additional volunteers. We do have some, but we're probably going to need more. If you guys are going to be there for the day of the event, that is wonderful. If you could respond and you get connected to the need for the day of the event, then we can have a running list, but we also need to let the day of event team know that we will be there and the times so that they can plan accordingly to help everything run smoothly. So make sure you're taking care of all of those. As for your hours that you guys have been putting into this project this term, make sure that you are adding them into You Get Connected. So when you go into You Get Connected, you have this little initials up here. Yours will be slightly different than mine, but if you click on My User Groups, this Professional Profile Development online class is going to pop up for you, and you can click View Needs. So there's several different needs that I put in here. So planning an event networking, sustainability event, just general. If it doesn't fit in one of these other categories, put it in there. Sustainapalooza marketing, you can throw it in there. And then the day of event is not popping in here for you. So I'll put a need in there. So what you're going to do to respond to that need is you're going to click on the view details. Oh, here, yeah. So the Sustainapalooza event, this is the day of, from 10:30 to 4:30. If you can't attend that whole time, it's fine. But you're going to respond to that need, whichever one you select. When you get to user groups here, you will put it in as the online blended course. Add notes. So let's say there was someone in class that could only be here from 12:30 to 4:30. You would just put those in, include your phone number maybe so that Jessica and them have that, or your student email. and I can't obviously spell, and then click on the submit needs response. Once you've done that, you're able to then track your hours. So then you just click up here on add hours. You will pick whichever need you responded to. So Sustainapalooza, the day of. You'll put in the date over here. Number of hours worked. So that day is going to be 8 hours. About 6 hours, give or take. For reflections here, or brief description, you need to include what you did related to that event. So for Sustainapalooza, I did XYZ. This week, I worked on contacting this organization, and this organization for a total of 1 hour, whatever it might be. And then you submit hours entry. Once those are submitted, I am then able to go in and approve those hours, and you get credit for them. So your hours for the service learning project, if you look in Blackboard under the major assignments folder, sorry, I'm jumping all around. So major project submission assignment folder, you can see for the service learning project how many hours it takes to get whatever percentage. That is figured into your final service learning project grade. You have a service learning project reflection that you'll do. You'll submit a bunch of materials related to who your contact was, what are some of the documents you maybe created for the event. Let's say you're in charge of volunteers, like you make a volunteer schedule and what you had them do, you would submit that. If you created a poster or flyer, you would submit that. All of your contacts, you would put those all nicely, explain their booths or why they said no for this year, maybe their potential for next year. You'll submit all of that material. On top of that, we have those community and organization members that are participating in the event. I will send out secret shopper type information to them and have them do a review of how you networked with them, what type of communication you have, your professionalism, and so forth. And that will go into your grade, as well as the sustainability coordinator, Casey and Genevieve, their overall perception of how well the event came together and the success of the event compared to their previous years. So all of those things compile your total grade for your service learning project. So your hours is a portion of it, and it's really, while the hours are important to see the impact that you have on the event, it's also important to see how much you grow and learn from participating in this type of learning project with a class and a team. And it's quite different than some of your other teams or class projects you've worked on, because this is a real life event that comes together and impacts, in this case, students, potentially the environment, and so much more. We don't even know the entire impact of this event yet because we're still working through those. Other assignments you guys want to be aware of that are happening yet this term, some of you may have forgotten, and I've heard a few of you mention that. You do have community engagement hours as part of the course competencies for this course, putting in on top of the service learning project an additional 8 hours of community service, volunteer hours, some might call them. So you will do some type of reflection on those 8 hours. I had in here that they're due April 1st. I'm actually going to change that to April 8th just because, or April 5th, just to give some of you a little bit more time, because I really haven't seen anybody submit those. So you can respond to needs and you get connected. It can be any community group or organization. Some of you might have stuff at your current employer that you do for community engagement or volunteer hours. Those will all get put into You Get Connected too. It's not in the class portal, it's in the regular community engagement portal, but you'll log those 8 hours in there as well. You also have networking and professionalism events that are coming up, and the career fair, which is tomorrow, that needs to be completed. Those are all all the major projects this term that you'll need to complete, and then you'll need to check out in each weekly folder the smaller things that need to be completed, just so that you get those done. As there's a thank you note for the person that's doing your interview. You'll finalize your personal branding piece. You'll participate in your mock interview at whatever time that might be. For most of you, because you're doing virtual or you had some different schedules than my business professionals, I'm